Most salespeople think they know how they're doing. They don't. They're just guessing, and it's costing them money. I'm Josh, the sales guy, and this is Improve or Die Trying. Today, we're breaking down why most people are measuring their business with feelings and why that leads them to the wrong conclusions. Sales might be the only profession where you can feel like a genius at 10 in the morning and a complete failure by 2 in the afternoon. Same day, same you. 1 minute, you're on top of the world. Deals are moving, conversations are easy, you feel sharp, like you finally figured things out. And then a couple of things go sideways. A deal falls apart, a customer pushes back, something doesn't land the way you expect it to, and now those feelings flip. Same process, same effort, completely different result. So now you're just sitting there thinking, what changed? And what do most people do? They trust the feeling. And if it's good, they think they're doing well. And if it's bad, they think something's broken. But here's the problem. Those feelings aren't telling you the truth. And that is where this starts to cost you. Because if you let every moment in this business affect you, this job will wear you down fast. And I learned that the hard way. Years ago, during the Great Recession, I was working in real estate. I had been a mortgage lender, but when everything collapsed, I had to pivot into home sales. My office was in San Bernardino, California, and that was one of the hardest hit areas in the country. At the time, it felt like every home was in foreclosure. Every morning, I'd get a list of homes that were going in default. And the list was so long that there was no way that I could knock every door. So every day, I just started knocking. And people weren't happy to see me. Over time, though, I learned a few things. First, every single time someone listed with me, I would play Celebration by Kool and the Gang in the car. It was a small reset, just to celebrate the win and then get back to work. That alone separated me from a lot of people who would have called it a day. The second thing I learned was this. When someone yelled at me, I learned to laugh it off. Because the truth was that reaction was exactly why most people wouldn't even knock doors in the first place. But I'm not going to lie, the job could get intense. I had guns pulled on me, dogs sicked on me, people surround me to threaten me. Everybody wanted to hurt me or list. But eventually, I realized something extraordinarily important. If I was to let every one of those interactions affect me emotionally, it wasn't going to last very long. So I built a simple system to track exactly what was happening. I called it the Hot 100. It was just a very simple 10 by 10 grid, 100 boxes. Every door I knocked on got a mark. A slash meant no one was home. An X meant they answered but nothing happened. A circle meant I listed the home. And if something crazy happened, yelling, threats, anything wild at all, I just filled in the whole box in black. And over time, those numbers started to tell a story. I learned that I would list about 3 homes for every 100 doors I knocked. And about 1 out of every 300 doors, something crazy was going to happen. So when I got past 300 doors without that black box, I knew it was coming. And when it did, I didn't get upset. I honestly started looking forward to it because those black boxes were the moments that separated the people who could handle the job from the people who couldn't. And once I saw the pattern, I realized something most salespeople never figure out. Most salespeople don't actually know how they're doing. They think they do, but they don't. Ask someone how things are going, and you'll hear something like, it's been a good week. It's been rough lately. Customers are price sensitive right now. And those answers, they might be honest, but they're also meaningless because they're not based on anything real. They're based on a memory. They're based on an emotion. And usually they're based on the last few interactions. 2 bad customers in a row, and now the market feels terrible. 2 easy sales, and it feels like you finally figured it all out. But both of those conclusions are coming from tiny sample sizes. So when you measure your business with feelings, And when your perception is off, your decisions are too. The question becomes, how do professionals stay centered in a business like this? How do they avoid getting too high when things are going well or too low when things get tough? They stop measuring their performance with feelings. And what they start doing is measuring with numbers. That's what that little Hot 100 grid did for me. It turned chaos into math. The slam door wasn't personal. It was just part of the 100. Someone yelling at me wasn't shocking. It was just the next black box that was showing up right on schedule. The numbers didn't remove the difficulty of the job, but they did remove the uncertainty. And when uncertainty disappears, so does a lot of the emotional chaos. But here's where most people get this wrong. They hear that and they think, yeah, I probably should track my numbers. But they don't actually understand what those numbers are telling them. And if you don't understand your numbers, you're still guessing. Now, let me make this practical. Most companies give you some version of a KPI report, something that shows your week, your month, maybe even your last 6 months, so that you can see trends. And if you have that, you should be using it. But here's the part most people miss. Just having the numbers doesn't mean you understand them. Recently, I had a one-on-one with my manager. Before they ever said anything, I started reciting my numbers, my close rate, my financing rate, my average ticket, and they told me that they were impressed that I knew them so well. But to me, that's the job. Because if I don't know my numbers, how could I possibly know how I'm doing? Or worse, think that I'm doing fine when I'm not? And more importantly, how do you know if something is that you're seeing is a real problem or it's just a moment? Now, here's the other side of this. Because some of you might be thinking, well, my company doesn't give me that, or I work for myself. But that doesn't change anything. It just means it's on you. Track your close rate. You need to track your average ticket. You need to track your cancels. You need to track whatever actually matters in your business. Because without that, you do not have clarity. All you have are feelings. And feelings don't tell you the truth. Numbers do. Know your numbers, and you will know your business. Today's video challenge is simple. Know your numbers, but not in general. Not I've got a rough idea. Know them. If I asked you right now your close rate, your average ticket, your cancels, would you know them? Or would you have to go look? Because if you don't know those numbers, you don't actually know how your business is performing. You only know how it feels. And that's the problem. So here's the challenge. Look at your numbers. Study them. Understand what they are telling you. Because once you know your numbers, you're going to stop guessing. And if you don't have an easy way to access those numbers, that's not an excuse. Build one. Create your own version of the Hot 100 because it's time to take control of your business. Sales will always be emotional work. That part, it doesn't change. You're still going to have great days. You're still going to have tough ones. You'll have customers that thank you and customers who slam the door. But professionals, don't let those moments define their reality because they understand something most people don't. You can't win them all. And no single sale, good or bad, will define who you are. What numbers mean is that you understand what's actually happening in your business. And the only way that you can do that is through numbers. Because numbers tell you where you stand. They tell you what's working. They tell you what needs to be improved. And when you know your numbers, you stop guessing and you stop overreacting and you stay centered. Remember how we started. Sales might be the only profession where you feel like a genius at 10 in the morning and a complete failure by 2 in the afternoon. That swing is real. But over time, professionals learn something different. They learn to walk the line. They learn that no single moment defines them. And most importantly, they learn to trust the numbers. Because numbers are one thing, and because feelings, all they do is tell stories, where numbers tell the truth. And when you know the truth, you stop guessing. You stop overreacting. You stay centered. And over time, the numbers tell the story for you. If this hits you, don't scroll past it. Drop a comment. Not something polished, not something safe. Just tell me where you're guessing. Be honest, but not for me, for you. Because the moment you see it, you can fix it. I read every comment, and I want to know who's actually doing the work. And if you're serious about getting better, subscribe. Because everything here is about one thing: becoming the person this job actually requires you to be. I'm Josh, the sales guy, and in this profession, there are only two options: improve or die trying.